So this is the front cover, which houses the pump. There's 3 larger bolts at the top here, and the rest are all the same size going around. Quite a few bolts. See if we can't get this cover plate off, see what's in behind. So with that cover plate off, there's a thrust collar here and and there's shims involved here too. Oop. So there's a shim. And a thrust collar. So there's a shim here, which obviously oh, I see the shims. Oh, there's multiple shims on the front. All housed in a little collar there. So what does that thrust on? It thrusts, it's not the greatest, but it thrusts on a collar here on the input shaft. There's a lot of movement in there. I don't know if that's normal, but it's a lot. You can see the drum rotating there. There's the bands that clamp together and hold the outer drum for, that's for reverse gear on the front drum. So that's the reverse band. I don't know if we can see, can't really see the lining material there, but you can see there's an adjustment rod here for reverse, comes to the outside. So all you're doing is screwing it further in, clamp up reverse gear if it needs adjustment. I don't know anything about those, but I imagine that is not used very often. So anyway, we'll try and measure it if possible. I'll see if there's something in the book. Inside actually looks better than the one that's in the current car. In the current car, the colour of this is blue because it's been so hot. And the rear drum looks about the same as the other car. It looks quite good from the little, well, from what I know, amateur of course. I've measured, I took a photo and I measured through here and through here to see the depth down to the back of the band piston, which you can't see just yet, but the band pistons are these 2 rods here. So measuring in through that nut and in through that nut, we're able to get a measurement. I've checked against the spec and they're out, suggesting that the bands, the friction material is probably quite worn. And from what I understand, how to fix that is to put a different length rod in over here to try and close the gap up. And then once that can't be closed up any further, you've got to change the friction material. So I might ask the question of where I'm going with that before I pull that apart, obviously. So the next step is to get this 4-pronged nut off the back of the output shaft. I don't have a socket, so I cut down a relatively cheap impact socket to fit in. Not the prettiest of things, but it works. Hopefully that'll work on the way back in too. And then that can come off. I think this comes off with the whole back plate. I don't think it comes off separately from the shaft. There's a looseness to it, but I don't think it actually pulls off. Anyway, we'll discover that next. I'm going to pull the back plate off here.